Well, it's looking like we have some more updates when it comes to this entire situation with Celeste Rivas, what was going on with her investigation, and David's involvement. We've got an update here from TMZ. We're going to find out what's happening with this grand jury, what the grand jury was shown, what they're going to decide. And we actually have some more information about the grand jury we heard in the past, who they were recently communicating and working with the LAPD to try and figure out how they can get some more information on this investigation and what we're going to see moving forward. Check this out from TMZ.
The Celeste Rivas homicide investigation has taken a big turn. There is now a grand jury that has convened to try and dig up information that could lead to an arrest.
Yeah, the LA County District Attorney's Office presenting evidence to this grand jury, presenting the evidence they have at this point. And the grand jury, what we've heard is that the grand jury has been convened for several days in mid-November. What we don't know, because grand juries are all done with good reason in secrecy, so we don't know if they are done at this point.
They may still, my guess is they're still going.
I'm guessing they're still
let me kind of explain the way this works. This is an investigative grand jury. And the reason that they convene these is because the police can call somebody that they want to interview, and a lot of people clam up. They say, I'm not going to talk to you. They're afraid of incriminating themselves or other people. And it's very difficult sometimes for police to talk to people who are involved to get information. So the reason for a grand jury is that they can subpoena people and require them to testify. The only way somebody cannot testify is to use their Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. But if there's no Fifth Amendment, they have to testify. So the police use the grand jury as an investigative tool to get things that they could not easily get.
They could also use this to get videos or other documents that, like you said, if someone is being a little difficult, they don't want to turn it over.
Right.
It gives them some
They could get access to somebody's cell phone. They could get access to security cameras. I mean, they could get access to a lot of information. So this is going to open up the door to help the LAPD with this investigation. I'm still surprised that we're at this point with this entire investigation. Again, because we've seen a lot of the evidence that was shown. We've seen Celeste Rivas in and out of her parents' home. We've seen her hanging out with David. We've seen her relationship with David and even David's brother and the people surrounding this. Now we're hearing from TMZ and we're hearing from the LAPD as well that it seems to be more than one person involved in this. So now I guess they're starting to stack up a lot of the information and get the details so they can come forward with the full indictment here.
Subpoena power. You can issue, obviously, a subpoena through the grand jury. I think the other big thing here is there's been so much that we have not been able to figure out about this investigation, right? I know you've had some great sources, but at the same time, there's so much mystery, it seems, behind this investigation, more so than most others that we deal with, because we know that this body was found in the trunk months ago now. We were always wondering why there was no tox report. We've now learned that because the body was potentially frozen and put on ice. This is a huge step. The fact that a grand jury has been convened means the cops are really, prosecutors are a long way down the road.
Or they're not.
Or they don't have enough.
Well, or they don't have enough. They need the grand jury to
But I think it does point to that they think they know where they can get the information.
That's exactly
right. And they're hoping by convening this grand jury, they're going to be able to get to it.
What we have been reporting and know is that although the medical examiner has not determined a cause or manner of death, the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division, they are viewing this as a homicide. And they are also viewing the singer David, who had some sort of relationship with this young girl.
Celeste, who was 14.
They are viewing him as a suspect. We're also told there is a second suspect that they're looking at who has some connection to the dismemberment of Celeste's body. As you know, that Celeste's body was found in David's Tesla near his rental house in early September, and it had been there for weeks. And we told you that LAPD knows this, that they believe that they have hard evidence. David took a mysterious trip to Santa Barbara in the spring of this year, spent in a very remote area and spent several hours there in the middle of the night. And they believe there may have been dismemberment there, but they think that is going to be a key part of this investigation.
So the grand jury, if they're now having subpoena power of the grand jury, could help them connect whatever dots they don't have connected yet. Like you said, we know that they know about this trip to Santa Barbara. They know the body was found in the car. And maybe they already know this and we just don't know it. What happened between the spring of this year when this trip to Santa Barbara happened and then September?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of this information they're trying to get to is probably from the Tesla. Even though they have it in their possession, there might be a lot of information they have to subpoena or request to get access through, whether that's either Tesla itself or that's David or whoever was in possession of the car. So if someone's not being truthful, they're saying, I don't know what happened with the car. Well, they're not in court. They're not under a subpoena, and they don't have to really give the police anything. Now that we're moving forward here, we might get more information and more access to what happened with the vehicle and inside the vehicle.
And where was her body if she was
gut,
actually dismembered back in the spring?
From talking to our sources, and they're at various parts of this investigation, I think they know a lot about this, and it is puzzling. Yeah. Where was this body? We did a story last weekend that we are told the body was partially frozen when found, which is remarkable since it was in a hot car for so many days. The LAPD captain connected to this case disputed that and said the body was not frozen. We went back to our sources, in particular, a source connected to the medical examiner who quadrupled down on this and said, no, the body was partially frozen. And as we reported, her fingers were so waterlogged, they couldn't take fingerprints.
So the one of the things would be, where was that body? Where was it frozen, right? Where was it?
Where was
kept?
It, period?
Where was it kept for all of this time?
And when did she die? And when did she die?
And then how does it end up dismembered in the front trunk, the trunk of his car? It's such a bizarre eventuality for this body, given what the police are saying it possibly happened in the spring in Santa Barbara, then frozen, then in the trunk of the suspect's car, or a suspect's car.
Everyone has been wondering why there isn't an arrest yet, and I think the fact that this grand jury has been convened tells you that they don't have enough yet for an arrest, but they are getting very, very close.
I don't even know very, very close. I was told don't expect an arrest immediately, although that obviously could change depending on what the grand jury got and what other information they're getting.
Hi, I'm Corey from Massachusetts, and this David case is very interesting because it's one of those situations where the internet believes that they solved this months ago, right? So I'm really wondering why it took police so long to even name him as a suspect, especially when his entire music catalog essentially confesses to a crime. That's exactly what happened here. So it'll be very interesting to see this play out and see if it does so without any corruption.
We got to say, he has not been named a suspect. We know he is being treated as a suspect. They have not officially named anybody. That's number one.
And while I hear what you're saying, that the internet believes they solved this, the internet doesn't have to actually prosecute and get a conviction.
That was my second point.
Right. The internet is just like, we know who did it. Well, prosecutors have a much bigger burden.
Yep, they do, but we're also not blind either, and the pieces fit together and make sense. So again, I get the LAPD has to go through the due process. They have to do their investigation, and they can't just throw indictments at people, although they do all the time. But we'll see how the DA's office handles this, and if we hear something soon from the LAPD, the district attorney, and most importantly, the medical examiner, because they seem lost over there, which is surprising at this point. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat.